Let's talk about my number 1 and your number...
I have a number 3.
Oh.
I could argue it's a very... I could argue a number 1 is just as easily.
Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, July 6, 2008 Wimbledon final.
Greatest tennis match ever. John McEnroe says that that's enough for me. There's not much more that really needs.
And just the drama. You have 2 of the top players of the decade, pretty much the top men players,
the top 2 guys
of the decade. And those guys, like, just with. I mean, and also too, you had the rain delays going on, the weather, you know, and Federer, that helped Federer, you could say, helped Federer gain momentum in the 3rd and 4th sets because he trailed 2 sets to none.
And also, he had never lost. He had never lost at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
He had one.
He had a win streak of, he had a 5-year win streak, yeah.
And
41 straight, I think 41 straight, matches.
For Nadal to pull that out on a court, which is obviously not his best surface, just shows the caliber of his caliber and how tough mentally he is.
Absolutely.
He had a bad year this past year because he'd been hurt.
Right.
But he'll be back, and they'll be fighting it out for the next couple of years anyway.
Right. And another matchup we have a similarity: Texas Longhorns over the USC Trojans, January 4th, 2006, the BCS National Championship. Now, how can you put Boise State, Oklahoma?
Because Boise State, Oklahoma,
it was great.
It was the greatest ending to a football game ever.
Statue of Liberty.
the interception return, the hook and ladder. For the interception return, Boise State was down 7. They were up 28-0, 28-10. They blew the lead. Oklahoma had an interception return with a minute to go to take a 7-point lead. Boise State drives on a hook and ladder on 4th and 18 with 12 seconds to go, scores on a 50-yard touchdown. They get the ball. Oklahoma scores.
Then they trailed by 1. They were trailing by 1.
The halfback option pass gave him the touchdown, the Statue of Liberty to Ian Johnson for the 2-point conversion, and then he proposed to his girlfriend right afterwards.
Yeah, but I have to say, though, with USC Texas, talking back to Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, they were Texas and USC were the 2 best teams that year. And you had a comeback with Vince Young coming back, trailing 38-26, coming back on the mighty SC Trojans. And Vince Young individually carried that team.
If we had done a 5 best individual performances,
top 3.
He would have been in top 2 or 3. I mean, he had, I think, 268 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. And just a sensational game.
My God.
For me, I enjoyed the Boise State because also it gave more legitimacy to the BCS to the non-BCS conference teams, and also with that, along with Utah's victory the year before against Pittsburgh, that it solidified that some of these smaller teams belong in the big games.
Right, absolutely. One more, which we have similarities on. Diego Corrales, the late Diego Corrales, God rest his soul, against Jose Luis Castillo, May 7, 2005 for the WBC lightweight title.
The greatest round of boxing I've ever seen.
Oh, God, round 10. Round 10 when Chico went knocked down twice and then installed it with the mouthpiece, which he was going within the rules, and then came back and hurt Jose Luis Castillo with a right hand, then a left hook. I mean, he just kept throwing punches. And when you have a puncher's chance, like Chico Corrales did.
That's what he was. He was a puncher. Neither fighter was ever even close to the same
Same
afterwards.
Again, yeah.
I mean, Diego tragically died, I guess, 2 years ago in a motorcycle accident. Jose Luis Castillo is kind of fallen by the wayside. Got knocked out by Ricky Hatton and has never really recovered. The number 1 I have, because of how great just the hatred of the teams, is the Yankee Red Sox 2003 ALCS Game 7.
Yeah.
Red Sox up 5-2. They take out
Pedro.
They leave Pedro into 8, or
they leave him in. Leave him in the 8th inning.
Mariano pitching 3 scoreless innings, and then Aaron, and as the Boston people call Bucky Dent in 1978, Bucky effing Dent. Now it's Aaron effing Boone.
Bleeping Boone. 25 years later. Yep. Exactly.
Home run, and ironically, that was, and the Yankees were pretty much done after that. That was their World Series. And they lost to the Marlins in the World Series, who had won in a miraculous.
And to me, I felt the Diamondbacks over the Yankees was a more significant game because you had the battle between Roger Clemens and Curt Schilling. I mean, and then Alfonso Soriano hitting that leading home run in the top of the 8th inning to make it 2-1, and then Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer ever, just didn't have it. Honorable mention before we move on.
We both
Syracuse Orange and the Connecticut Huskies. I was at this game. I was blessed to be at this game on March 12, 2009. What more can you say? 6 overtimes. Devendorf thought he won it at the end when he got up on the score.
It wasn't the end. It was the second overtime.
No, it was at the end of regulation. And then just the intestinal fortitude, Johnny Flynn playing 67 minutes.
My lasting memory, we're going to have to expedite this because otherwise it's going to be a 3-hour show. My lasting memory of this, I was watching this at home, and I came into work the next day, and my boss was at the game, and he just turns to me and he goes, "How can you watch this?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I go, "This is one of the greatest college basketball games I've ever seen." He said, "I was so bored." I said, "That's when I knew I was at the wrong place."